It is a time of civil war among Star Wars fans. The Last Jedi, once thought to be the best Star Wars film yet, has split the audience.
Some believe that is the best film since The Empire Strikes Back, pushing the Star Wars franchise to new places. Other fans believe it was an insult, and the worst of the series. Both believe they are the true fans.
With this audience reaction, two podcasters will now give their opinion on the film in an attempt to restore peace and order throughout the galaxy, but will probably just make things worse. Hello everybody, and welcome to this special episode of Comment Section. We're going to talk about the controversial, I would say, episode of Star Wars, The Last Jedi, which came out in December 2017. And here's the thing, there's going to be spoilers. It's a spoiler podcast. It's going to be all spoilers, and I'm going to spoil it right now.
God.
I am going to spoil it right now, so if you don't stop listening, it's going to be spoiled. Do you hear me? It's going to...
Oh God!
Luke is not the father, and Snoke dies.
Well, that was a waste of 2 years of build-up!
Absolutely.
Yes, such a controversial movie.
So can we just say that this movie sucks?
Yes.
Absolutely terrible.
It was like Jar Jar came and decapitated Luke Skywalker, and my childhood died.
That being said, and it was completely serious.
So
let's get started.
When... Originally, we did not plan on doing a special dedicated to Star Wars Last Jedi.
It's the controversialness.
The controversialness is what brought it up.
That we were, by the way, making fun of a bit at the beginning there, and not entirely sincere about.
And we're going to go through some character development in
absolutely.
this, because I don't think we can make this a whole episode.
We'll see.
Who knows?
There's always rabbit hole possibilities now, in comment sections.
I thought that our end of the year thing was going to be a little 10-minute section, and it ended up being 2 very long episodes. So,
yep,
this has happened before.
You never know. It's almost, we can't even say. We were already just talking for 2 minutes about this. So
before we start. Mm-hmm. Because we like to try and keep like a little bit of a format sometimes.
Yeah.
I did want to ask, because for Justice League and Spider-Man Homecoming, we talked about our introduction to the franchises.
Yeah.
So, what was your introduction to the Star Wars franchise?
The Phantom Menace.
What? My God.
I might have... Okay, I don't remember
There are going to be some commenters who are just like, that explains a lot.
Well, yeah, but no, the thing is I never liked the Phantom Menace that much. It was just that it came out in 1998? 99. So, it was a time... Like, I didn't have the chance... Like, I was 6 years old in 99. I might have been 5, depending on when in the year it came out.
I think it came out in May.
I probably was 5 years old, but I saw it in theaters.
Really?
Yeah, I saw The Phantom Menace in theaters. I actually... I have more specific memories about that than anything, even.
What made you decide to go see The Phantom Menace? If you hadn't seen the original trilogy
I'm not positive if I haven't seen it. It's just a little more like... Was I just shown the Star Wars movies when I was 5 years old? I'm not sure. I don't remember. So, but I do remember specifically seeing The Phantom Menace. And I even remember at one point...
you laughed at Jar Jar's antics.
Well, actually, that is funny, because I almost kind of remember, even at being so young, it almost felt like they're trying to make a character for the kids a little insincerely. But no, it was hard to not... I mean, there was also a part of me that, you know... Jar Jar was silly and funny, you know? I was 5. But, no, I mean, and now it's like my...
To be fair, the animation on Jar Jar looks great.
I mean, it's good.
You gotta remember at the time,
it's good motion capture for sure.
And I thought
it looks pretty bad now.
Well, I'm talking about at the time.
Yeah.
And I also thought that, even though people don't like the character, I thought, the actor did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, it's not...
He didn't write the script.
Almost not...
Did you hear the rumor?
What's
Who was originally going to be Jar Jar?
No.
Michael Jackson.
Oh my god.
Qui-Gon, we still need help.
Well, okay. But, okay, so that was just kind of... I mean, really... It didn't... I was too young to be absorbing what Star Wars is. It was a little later, towards the end of the prequel trilogy, that I definitely remember going back and watching the originals.
So it was after?
But that's the thing, I don't totally remember when I first saw the original trilogy. I definitely remember seeing it around the time that Revenge of the Sith came out. But I probably saw it before that, but I'm just bad at remembering my past. All I can confirm is that even as a kid, I remember loving the original trilogy way more than the prequel trilogy, but liking Revenge of the Sith a lot, because that was a little more towards the point, because I was probably closer to like 11 years old or so, where it was a bit more, like I was a bit more equipped to really like Star Wars. Then after the prequel trilogy was over and people, at least in the mainstream, stopped talking about Star Wars, I stopped caring about Star Wars, honestly. And it took until it coming back with The Force Awakens for me to actually consider myself a Star Wars fan. So that, right off the bat, is probably a reason for a lot of people to stop listening to this podcast. Because I'm a fake fan. But, yeah. That's really it. And I remember before The Force Awakens coming out and it being announced, I was just... to me, I was like, I'm not a Star Wars fan. Like, I wasn't looking forward to it all that much. But then, like, a month or two before it came out, I was like, okay, let's go back. Let's watch this original trilogy that I haven't seen in, like, 10 years. And then I was hooked. So, I'd just forgotten,
the secret origin of a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So, growing up, I knew about Star Wars. I knew what Darth Vader looked like, and I just didn't care. I was a very small, close-minded kid. A small-minded kid sounds worse. I was a very close-minded kid who just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But my earliest memory of Star Wars, and this is such a stupid memory, is at Chuck E. Cheese. You know how you can get the tickets and you get a prize? Yeah. I remember seeing in the glass case they had a toy C-3PO and toy R2-D2. I was like, hey, look, it's actually a nice prize, but that's a lot of tickets. Yeah. And I had never watched the movies. I just like, hey, look, they actually put some effort in it this time. Like how on the back wall they had the nice stuff, but yeah, you were like stuck with the little green army man, right, or you could get the squirt gun. But so I knew about, but I didn't really care, and just because I thought the characters looked cool, I ended up buying some of the toys during Attack of the Clones in 2002. And then, so my uncle had the VHS of the trilogy. So Star Wars this was during Attack of the Clones. Yeah. Like, I remember the advertising for the Phantom Menace. I just like, I don't care. So, and I said, I'll just watch it. And I really liked it. But I didn't care about the prequels. Like, I saw the trailer.
I think it was pretty hard for exactly our generation of just being born where we were children, where the prequels were coming out. Yeah. Maybe it soured our taste of Star Wars for a long time.
Do you know anyone like our age who before the current movies was diehard?
Honestly, like, I know more people who didn't care about Star Wars until recently.
The prequels might have heard it first.
I really think that we're in the wrong generation. Luckily, we've mostly come to see the light.
So I didn't care about the prequels and ended up being talked into watching The Phantom Menace. And I wasn't really into it, but I decided to just give the prequels a chance. So that Christmas 2002. Yeah, that's when I've been. I got the Star Wars trilogy on VHS. And for those of you just wondering, which version was it? It's the one where it's one that would have come out and it had a little bonus feature at the beginning of New Hope for Attack of the Clones. It's the one advertised in the first X-Men movie, which I guess they just add that Attack of the Clones thing. But on one side you have C-3PO's half face with the droids at the bottom. Other side, you see Darth Vader with some of the ships. Other side, you see Yoda, and at the bottom, it's really cool. I'd bring it out, but most of you are probably just listening to this, so it's not worth it. So, and I also got Attack of the Clones on DVD. And this should say something. I watched the original trilogy so many times when I got that.
Yeah.
But I never got all the way through Attack of the Clones until 3 years after I got it on DVD.
Yeah.
So I just didn't care. And here's the thing. I eventually bought the Phantom Menace on VHS and decided that instead of just watching the trilogy, which I had done over and over and over,
yeah,
I was going to watch all of them. And I did it once, and I ended up not watching Star Wars again for the next 8 years. So I didn't care about it again. Even in 2012, I think it's when they announced that Disney was going to purchase Lucasfilm, and they were going to make Star Wars Episode 7. I was just like, I don't care. And then the thing that actually got me, like, to care again was they had that one really cool trailer for The Force Awakens. I think it was the last one they did. Where, it's not the Chewie We're Home one. I'm pretty sure it's the last one. It's
There's
the one
just
that
amazing trailers for it.
Yes, and I watched the trailer. It's the one where Han is talking to Rey and Finn, and he says, like, it's real, all of it. It was that trailer. That was the one that I was just like, I'm getting a little curious. Maybe I should bust out the VHSs.
And on that topic, I also think the Last Jedi trailers are some of my favorite trailers ever.
Yeah.
They hyped me up so much.
So, and then I was just like, you know what? I like these movies, but I'll just wait until it's on Blu-ray just to watch Force Awakens. But then I heard that The Force Awakens was going to be the biggest opening weekend of all time, because this was big. Yeah. I mean, we're never going to have another opening as big like that.
I mean, it's still the second highest grossing movie ever, isn't it?
No, it's third.
Third? Okay. Still third highest grossing movie ever. $2 billion.
That's a great, that's like on the Olympics. They're still there.
Yeah.
So, I remember people just like, oh man, it's third. It's a failure right there.
And that's a failure. $2 billion
$2 billion. Oh. Oh, JJ, what have you done?
More like Jar Jar Abrams.
Jar Jar Abrams.
Yeah.
So, I decided I was going to go see it just because I wanted to be a part of this. Because it was good.
Historic.
It would take Star Wars being gone again for another 30 years. And we'll never have something like that again.
Yeah.
Where it's gone for 30 years and you bring back the original cast. So, went to it, really liked the film, and then I cared again. So, once again, because we want to drag this out a little bit.
Yeah.
Before going to see The Last Jedi, what were your expectations? Well, how excited were you?
This is kind of the interesting thing about it, is that for The Force Awakens, I was really excited, but I wasn't like a proper Star Wars fan yet. And then for this, I was like, it was my most anticipated movie of the year. So it was a very different experience. I went on the opening night, which I've like never done for a movie before. So I was
you didn't want the Han Solo thing to happen again.
Oh yeah, that's right. And spoilers for The Force Awakens too, as if like why? Okay, but yeah,
if you cared, you would have watched it.
Yeah, before I saw it, in some random place, someone said that Han Solo dies right before I saw it. And it was I saw it only a few days after it opened, so I didn't want it to happen again. So I saw it opening night.
So yeah, I was really looking forward to this movie. It wasn't like my top movie I was excited for. Obviously, it was between Justice League and Spider-Man Homecoming. And then, I saw that last trailer. Once again, the last trailer is always the best one. There was
my favorite one is the one where it's like, I need someone to show me my place and all this.
Yes, that was the one where I was just like, ooh, I'm getting excited now.
Yeah.
So, they didn't have...
The thing that makes those like my favorite trailers is all the subversion. It's like, it's just messing with
you. You know what, though? That wasn't really, when you look back, that wasn't really that false marketing, because she does go to him and...
Yeah, but she's talking to Luke in not
I know, but
it's
not
true,
lying.
It is true, though, but yeah, it paints it slightly differently, at least, but yes.
The abbreviated version.
Yeah.
So, do we want to get into our review or talk about the split?
Well, yeah, I guess we can say a little that part of me just wants to just ignore the split and act like this is just love this movie. That's all I want to do. But yeah, the truth is, it's very controversial.
You were the one who told me,
yeah,
and I was just like...
We recorded a comment section, it was the day after the premiere, right?
I think it was the Friday.
So I would have seen it
you
Thursday
saw
night.
Thursday night.
And so I was like, it's actually really, like, split and controversial. And then, like, yeah, the audience score is down in the 60s by then, and it's...
Well,
like,
to be fair, that was sabotaged.
Yeah.
Just like they want to do with Black Panther.
Yeah, no, yeah,
sad,
absolutely.
Sad, pathetic people.
That's why audience scores are like, there's also on like Metacritic, the user score, all that stuff is stupid because there's no 0 out of 10 movie. There is, but not, you know, it's not that common for there to be a 0 out of 10 movie or something like that. So just angry people, but you know,
who are voting multiple times.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, but this is a movie that spawned that. The Force Awakens didn't spawn that. So I mean, a lot of people don't like The Force Awakens these days, but still, it didn't cause.
Although I have heard a little bit of a change after Last Jedi.
Yeah, because people were
they ruined what JJ was saying up.
Before The Last Jedi came out, I kept seeing people saying like, hopefully Rian Johnson can clean up this mess, and now people are saying, hopefully J.J. Abrams can clean up this
everyone
mess.
wanted to do Episode 9.
Yeah,
everyone was just like, we're gonna get J.J. But Ryan's a genius!
Yeah, they were
then
saying
they watched it, and they're just like, oh, JJ!
And here I am.
I'm sorry!
Here I am, hoping he still gets that full trilogy.
Well, I mean, this is a box office success, so...
Yeah. So, yeah.
It will be interesting, though, how, you know, whenever that first movie of his trilogy comes out, how the opening weekend is for that.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting. But yeah, it's the reaction confuses me, and we'll get into a lot of the reasons. At the same time, I get it because there are, you know, but we are later going to get into a lot of the complaints and my thoughts on the common complaints. Just kind of like browsing the internet and me seeing like, oh, these are some of the very common complaints on this movie. Like it's a very, very polarizing movie. A lot of people who hated it, I kind of took a lot of their general complaints and I want to comment on them. It is comment section.
Yes, it is. So, just real quick, without giving like a whole thing, just some quick thoughts about your reaction to The Last Jedi.
This is kind of the thing. Like,
before we forget, one of your top 3 movies from our special has been nominated for Best Picture.
Get Out.
Yes.
I was expecting it to get snubbed on Best Picture. I knew it was probably going to get nominated for some Academy Awards, but I hope it wins. It would be the first horror movie probably since Silence of the Lambs in like 92 or something like that has won a Best Picture. And I think it deserves it. So I'm really excited about Getting Out. Getting Out.
Get Out.
The sequel, Getting Out.
I'm a little disappointed Disaster Artist had nothing, so Tommy can't go.
Yeah, there was Best Adapted Screenplay for The Disaster Artist.
Did you see at the Golden Globes he tried to take the microphone away and try to speak?
I heard about that, yeah.
So
my initial reaction...
Because we haven't done an episode... Have you seen Coco?
I haven't yet.
Oh.
I'm going to soon, but well, yeah.
A shame that you're not seeing the top 5 Pixar movies.
Yeah, I need to, because I know I'm going to love it. There's just no way. There's no way I'm not. But okay, yes, my initial reaction to The Last Jedi is what we're talking about, like seeing it the first time, basically. Like I said, I saw it opening night, so there were no we lost a Mountain Dew. It fell over.
God. A lot has happened in the last few minutes.
It's a very chaotic episode here, just like the reviews for The Last Jedi. So I was...
Is one of them opened, or?
I started drinking this one.
Okay.
So there were no other opinions for me to work on when I first saw it. I was seeing it for the first, like, one of the first people to see it, just percentage-wise. Obviously, there are tons of people seeing it, but... so I had no idea how people were going to react, but the funny thing was... there were parts where I was just giddy thinking, this is the best. Like, I was just like, this is such a good movie. And then I was walking out of the theater like, people are gonna love this.
He was skipping out of the theater. Guys, we've done it! Star Wars is officially back!
I literally, like, I think there are people acting like people must have really had to try hard to like this. Like, you know how people are. When people like things, sometimes people who didn't like it are like those people are lying to themselves, or like they're just fanboys, or just, but like, I love Star Wars, but I'm not the biggest fanboy ever. I just saw the movie and I was genuinely like, that was great. There was nothing to complain about. It was amazing. And I was just like I was in the car just thinking about, and that part was so awesome, and that part was so awesome. And I get home and look at the reviews, like the audience reactions, and like in only hours after it opening, and just like, huh?
You're like one of those kids who like writes a book report. So like, I believe in this, and then they get home, go on the school's website, check their grades, and just like, an F? What is this?
Yeah, so yeah, I was confused. And the second time I saw it, I was kind of like, there was some guy next to me actually like going, what? like there was one part where he audibly went, what? Like, you kind of told a story about a guy who was
during the Simpsons movie. Yeah. He had no sense of humor about anything.
Like, there was, like, he was, what? And I was just like, wow, I don't understand you. Like, it's fine. Like, so yeah, I'm not on the same page. But
I was that guy during Man of Steel. Just like, oh god.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta be like that. But
sometimes you just...
I don't like every movie. But like, as I said in a previous episode, my heart is basically a critic tomato meter, and I basically have no soul. But I would like to say I genuinely liked this. I'm not forcing myself to like it. So forcing myself.
Oh, yes. So, do you have... You say, like, you don't get angry, upset movies. There's never been, like, a movie of a franchise where it enrages you. Like,
I feel like...
I am dead inside.
I feel like I don't normally get so attached to, like franchises that it, like, irks me that they, like, ruined it or something, like a lot of Star Wars fans are, but I think the most I would get is just kind of being like, this isn't good. I'll be a little disappointed, but I probably wouldn't take it much further than that. Like I said, that there was a movie earlier this year where I went, and I was the first. It was weird how we talked about a lot of these things in earlier comment section episodes. Like, have you ever walked out of a movie? Have you ever wanted to? And I didn't have any worst movies of the year. But then early in January this year, I saw the new Insidious movie, and there was a moment where I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore. And I didn't walk out, but I was just like, I was bored and kind of disappointed in it. So it happens. So, but I wasn't angry. I wasn't like, they ruined the franchise. Not that anyone in the world cares about Insidious that much. But
except for that one guy. You jerk! This is my franchise.
Yeah, sorry to that guy.
So, maybe I'll start with kind of my thoughts, because I'll start my thoughts on disappointing movies. So, as we know, I did not have a very good time last year with a certain web swinger.
There's a certain episode where you can hear more about that.
Yes, although if I want to be a little positive, I can say one positive thing that gives me hope.
Yeah.
I looked on Wikipedia, and I don't want to jinx this. Oh god, I don't want to jinx this. It looks like the voice of Suit Lady is not in Avengers Infinity War.
Okay.
Which, if she's not there, gives me... Suddenly, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, hold on to hope.
Yes.
I am.
So, maybe let me talk about, some people have Star Wars on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd say, you know what? I understand what these guys are going through.
Yeah.
So, 2012.
Yep, I remember that year.
Yes. It was the year of our graduation.
Absolutely.
And yet, there was something more important.
Yeah, that
in my life.
That summer.
That summer, July 20th, 2012.
Absolutely.
Counting down my Facebook post for the new year. Some people were just like, oh my god, guys, we're going to graduate this year. Mine was, oh my god, 7 more months until The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
I just remember, because we waited 4 years for that movie. So, Batman is like such a, that is... Well, some people put Star Wars on pedestal. Batman is
your pedestal.
That is my
That's
pedestal.
your pedestal.
So I was so excited for this movie, and I go in watching it.
Yep.
And I'm so excited. I've waited so long, and it's been something we've been talking about for years. Like, I think you're the one who told me about the title.
Yeah, I remember that because you checked every day to see if they announced anything. And then I was like, oh, they did. Yeah, it's called The Dark Knight Rises. And, like, I didn't realize how short of a window it must have been to me finding out first.
So, I remember going to this movie so excited. And I'm watching it. And I've said this before, like, just watching it and just that crushing feeling. There's a moment where you're trying to be like, oh man, this is going to be awesome, this is going to be awesome. And then there's that moment, for me in The Dark Knight Rises, it was that specific moment where the second time he falls down that stupid hole. I'm just like, because I was just like, okay, there's no way this is going to be as good as The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, I'm just like, okay, this isn't as good as Batman Begins. But at the time, my least favorite was Batman Returns, where because the villain is almost like takes over the movie.
Yeah.
It's my least favorite. At the time, it was my least favorite.
Yeah.
So I'm watching it. I'm just like, it's still good. It's just not, it's not as good as Batman Returns. And I'm watching it, and as he falls the second time, this is a movie I waited 4 years to see. And so Batman climbing out of an effing hole. You know what would have been more entertaining? Him trying to find the grapple gun and finding his way out. No, it's him climbing out of an effing hole. And you know what? No one bothers to stop him. It's just like, well, he's gone, guys.
Yeah.
Like, the elevator's out of order.
That's it.
And the second time he falls, I'm just like, oh my god, this movie sucks. This is not a good movie. And then, but I'm just like, oh, maybe they'll fix it. Maybe they'll fix it. And then it's the end, and there's 2 big things where it's just like, it is such a bad movie, and then there's 2 things that go completely against the story of Batman. Like 2 middle fingers right in my face, to where I'm just like, you know what? Middle finger right back at you, movie. It was the moment where the cop is talking to the receptionist, and she says, "Why don't you eat your legal name, Robin?" And you're just like, that's it? I've been waiting all this time for Robin, and this is the crap they pull? And then we find out that Bruce decided to be a jerk, and he fixed the autopilot the whole time. So the whole time, just like the autopilot, like, you lying a-hole. And he just is like, goodbye, Gotham, you are on your own. Could throw my popcorn at the screen. And then I'm just like, in disbelief, like, what is this? And then it goes, because when you watch it, it's like, you see Joseph Gordon-Levitt on the thing, and he's surprised because, Batman left Gotham in the hands of some guy who doesn't know what he's doing. And that's the shock is, oh crap, this thing is moving under me. So, and then it goes, done, The Dark Knight Rises, and you hear the credits, and I am sitting there just in shocked silence over what I just, because it wasn't just like, and the whole movie, I honestly can't say anything redeemable about that movie. I'm just sitting there just like, oh my god, what did they do?
Yeah.
And my parents turned to me and go, so what did you think? And I'm just like in shock over, my god, no. So, and like the rest of the night, I was just like in shock silence of, it was like the 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
It was, remind me of the 5 stages of grief.
So this will be a brainstorming podcast trying to remember them.
Depression.
Okay, so there's denial and acceptance and bargaining.
Okay.
I don't know the order, but
Denial. I remember just being like waking up the next morning and just wondering, did that happen? Did I make that up? Because there's no way that a movie that bad exists.
Yeah.
But then it did. Depression, I'm just like, oh my god, this is what we got. Because when you have that, you feel cheated.
Anger is another one.
Oh yes, there was a lot of anger. I felt cheated. I was just like, I didn't get a Batman movie. I was promised a Batman movie, and I didn't get one.
Yeah.
So, what we said? We said
I don't know the order. There's bargaining. Still.
Oh yes, I went back 2 times in the theater trying to like it, and you know what happened? It got worse.
Yep.
And we didn't get acceptance for a long, long time. And just like, you know what? It sucked.
Yeah.
So, I to describe it is such a horrible moment because you get cheated out of a movie. You are terrified of what are they going to do now?
Yeah.
Like, what is next? They have just destroyed this thing. And you're scared of what's going to happen next. And let's see, what else is there? And you die inside. It is not fun to be on the side of hating a movie so much. It is a horrible, horrible feeling. So I totally get.
Yeah.
The guy. Look, I'm not a diehard Star Wars fan, but I get what they're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, you remember? I remember Facebook messaging you, telling you right away I hated this movie.
Yeah.
So you can prove it wasn't. I wasn't like, oh, this movie is awesome, and then like other people finally realizing I was the original hater. So but I can say this, and also I will. The movie is so bad. I couldn't watch Batman Begins and The Dark Knight for 2 years without thinking of how they were ruined by this movie. So, I mean, obviously now in my mind I separate them.
Yeah.
But I will say this, to give a little bit of hope, because sometimes that's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, well, once after I saw that movie, it made the other movies more special.
Yeah.
Because
you take Batman movies like that.
You take for granted how great those other ones are. is the same thing happened for me after Spider-Man Homecoming. Like, I rewatched the 5 movies. I thought it might be best to skip Civil War to separate, in my mind, separate them.
Yeah.
So
Did I mention that I've seen Civil War now?
You have?
I guess I didn't mention it. Oh, it was great.
Did you see Winter Soldier?
No, just Civil War.
Oh, it's so good.
I even though I still like Spider-Man Homecoming, I get where you're coming from now, where I'm like, man, Spider-Man was awesome in that.
Yes! Oh, Civil War is my favorite MCU movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to say this. I know we're going off topic, but you guys knew what you're getting into.
It's the rabbit hole.
So,
it's here. This is it.
So Civil War is my favorite MCU movie. Where does it rank for you?
It's like up there. I always like to let some time between, just so I can kind of see where it sits in retrospect. But it'd be in my top 5.
Civil War is like a movie I went to see and did everything I wanted and more. Like,
yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Oh my god. So I'm rewatching the Marvel Cinematic Universe to get prepared for Black Panther, and I don't do it the way other people do it.
And that is kind of one reason why I watched it, to prepare for Black Panther, and I was very glad I did, because I did not know just how much Black Panther stuff there is in that movie.
Yes. I feel like there's 4... Maybe you'll disagree. I felt like there were 4 main characters, 2 leads and 2 sides. Cap, Iron Man, and then the 2 sides were Spidey and Black Panther.
I definitely agree with Black Panther being one of the... Spidey wasn't quite as core as Black Panther. It felt
to me like... I mean, out of everyone else, like... It felt like he has a bigger, more significant role than, like, Black Widow or Falcon.
Yeah, that's
it feels true. Like if I rank them, it's Cap, Iron Man, Black Panther, Spider-Man, then everyone else.
Yeah.
But yes, so by the way, Spider-Man's great in Civil War. It's the one reason why I have a little bit of hope for Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah.
Where was I going with this?
Well, you
I also forgot. So you asked before if you needed to watch Captain America: The First Avenger before seeing, because you said I just want to watch the other two.
I thought Civil War looked really good, and I just wanted to go straight to it.
And I'll say this. For if you ever want to watch The Winter Soldier, because The Winter Soldier is my second favorite MCU movie. You know.
That's a good sell.
So, I'll say this. You know, Civil War and The Winter Soldier, I think, are like Dark Knight level great. Like, it's not like, oh, it's almost. It's like, I think they're shoulder and shoulder of, this is one of the best, well, two of the best comic book movies ever made.
Yeah.
I feel like, I should say this, you don't have to, but it's a little bit like saying, I want to watch The Dark Knight, but do I need to watch Batman Begins? You don't need to. Even though these two are, like, significantly better, you're missing out, because Batman Begins is still great.
Yeah, that's true. No, I mean, eventually I'm going to want to, so...
Oh, by the way, I'm watching the MCU movies. I don't do it like most other people. Because when they announced Spider-Man was going to be in the MCU, I was like, I don't want to wait years for Spider-Man to show up, so I threw in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Because I'm just like, I don't want to wait years for a solo Spider-Man movie. And a solo Spider-Man movie I thought sucked. So instead, I take that out, I throw in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And then it's just like, I don't want to wait years to see the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, even though I think the X-Men movies will be terrible. So I throw those in there and just like, it's been it's January 16, just this week, man. Avengers, Iron Man 3, the Wolverine, the Amazing Spider-Man, Winter Soldier yesterday. It's been a long 2 weeks of Marvel.
Well,
it's basically...
So let's talk about this Marvel movie.
Basically, it's a long marathon just to get to Civil War. But so where was it? Oh yeah, so I understand what they're going through, but it does make the previous movies more special. And I don't know if this will happen, but eventually I got a do-over because Dark Knight Rises, one of the reasons I was so excited was it was going to adapt Dark Knight Returns. And so I was just like crushed because unlike, say, I already have a Batman versus Catwoman movie. I already have 2 movies with Robin. But I don't have a Dark Knight Returns movie. So months later, we got the animated Dark Knight Returns movie. A little weird how they scheduled it that way, but they knew they screwed up. And so it made it like when the story got redeemed, it made it more special.
Yeah.
And Dark Knight Returns, since then, we've had it done like basically 3 times. We had the cartoon, we had Arrow do Legends of Tomorrow, and then we eventually had a full blockbuster do-over in Batman versus Superman. And having it done right, and plus we later had Gotham, which I thought, taking rid of the costumes and gadgets, got down to the root and core of the character.
Yeah.
So eventually it got redeemed, and it made those first few more special. Like, oh, it's back. So I understand, guys. So
you get where they're coming from, and if they really do hate it, there's still hope. That's what Star Wars is all about. Hope.
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if well, you do have the expanded universe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you hate this, go, and you love the expanded universe, go back to those, and they will mean more. They'll be more special.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you don't like it, then just don't watch it.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. You can't ruin it. Like, the originals are still there.
Like, maybe give it a little time, but eventually you'll be able to separate them in your mind.
Yeah.
So I get where they're coming from. So I heard how split it was.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised when you told me that.
Yeah.
And so I'll just give a few quick thoughts of Star Wars before we get into it. So, seems like there are people who love this movie, some people hate this movie.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense that I kind of fall in the middle.
Yeah.
But definitely, I had like a mixed reaction, definitely leaning more positive than negative. And I'll just say this, because why not? I think of the 3 Disney movies we've had, I think it's the worst one, but it has my favorite moments.
That's a good point, because I definitely think this movie shines in its specific moments.
Yeah, there's moments I really like. There's moments I think are just like, ugh, awful. But I still overall liked it, and we'll get into that.
Yeah,
I guess we can do it now.
And I mean, for me, it is. For me, I would say Rogue One is my less liked of the 3, and that the Force Awakens and this are kind of on par.
So they're tied for you right now.
Yeah, I can't really decide,
but it's still
there's part of me
it's still in your top 4.
Yeah, I've got
ever-changing top 4.
Yeah, I've got the ever-changing top 4 of my top 4 Star Wars films, of the first 2 in the original trilogy and the first 2 in the sequel trilogy.
I guess I'll say I guess. Never mind. We'll get into it.
We'll just get into.
Should we flip our coin?
Oh, to see who goes first?
Yes.
Yes. Let's flip this penny.
Hey, this special's already going longer than I thought it would.
Yeah. So I'm always tails.
You are always tails. Oh, that was a crappy flip. Here we go. I feel like Harvey Dent. There you go.
I feel like it's been a while since I've won the flip.
Yes.
So, okay, you were saying how you get it, and that
some of the complaints I understand.
Yeah.
Some I view very differently.
And I do have to say that there are some complaints that I understand versus some that I don't. But I think what you were saying with The Dark Knight Rises, comparing it to this movie, the way that this is a little bit different is with a lot of movies, like we were talking about Spider-Man Homecoming, which I liked. I totally get your complaints, and I can't really counter them that well. And with The Dark Knight Rises, I also get the complaints, and it's like I can see it as being kind of a bad movie. I also think
The Dark Knight Rises is a horribly made movie.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Like, the script is bad.
I think that, personally, I feel like The Last Jedi falls way more in the people who hold Star Wars to a sacred level, not liking the things that feel like middle fingers to the franchise. But I don't think it's a horribly made movie. I just don't. There are a couple things that I can see aren't perfect, maybe even bad, but it's not an overall trash, horribly made movie that you would go and rate a 0 on. Like, it's just not. And I think that that's kind of a thing. Like, if we're just... Movies are subjective, but on this tiny objective level that exists, I just don't see it that way. So, that's why...
So, to recap, you don't have yours separated like I do.
I do have... I have it separated from the common criticisms that I think I'll do that first. I have these common criticisms of this movie so I wrote it as things people say are bad but are not, because it's great. I wrote it very uneloquently. And the first one I had...
You realize how many dislikes this just got now.
Well, we are paid big bucks by Disney.
Yes.
You can't possibly like a thing.
Exactly.
So the first thing I just have...
That's why I had to give that Spider-Man Homecoming review, was to stage it for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing was the humor taking away from serious moments. One of the common criticisms was this movie just tried to be funny too much. Like, it was just jokes interjected all the time. I think that one difference that I could see, if we want to go back to talking about Spider-Man Homecoming again,
God. I thought we were gonna have fun this.
Yeah, I know, but no, I'm only mentioning it to say, I understand that in that you would kind of say that the humor is just kind of taking control of the movie a bit. In this, I would argue that that is not happening, and I actually think that the humor, despite there being a lot of comedic relief in the movie, is actually, like, important. Like, it's actually showing things, which will bring me to another thing.
Oh, can I say something about the humor before I forget?
Yeah.
So, as I said, one of the things I really dislike about Spider-Man Homecoming is how jokey it is. Like, I'm fine with light superhero movies like the first Iron Man and the Avengers. I hate jokey. Like Spider-Man Homecoming. And I've been thinking about this because I heard a lot of people talk about it for Star Wars. And here's my view of it.
Yeah.
comparing this movie's humor to the original trilogy's humor is that the humor in the original trilogy is probably more subtle.
Yeah.
And here's the thing you gotta remember. It's been 30 years, so humor, whether you like it or not, has changed a lot. Like, some things we think are funny now might seem strange in the 80s.
Yeah.
Or, like, some stuff funny then. So I think you can't write it... They couldn't make this movie with its humor like they're making a movie in the 1980s. Yeah. They had to make it so that it's a movie made today.
And I do think that this trilogy seems to be ushering in how to make Star Wars in the new era. And I think people who hold the originals to that sacred ground don't want to see Star Wars in the new era. They want to see it emulating the old era more. Somehow even more than The Force Awakens. No, but I know they don't actually want that.
I think one of the things you gotta think is it's been 30 years.
Yeah.
When was last? Okay, Return of the Jedi was 83. This is 2017, so 34 years.
I mean, it'd be over 30 years.
Yeah. So, obviously, humor has changed. I'm not saying that you have to like the humor. I'm not saying humor's gotten better or worse. That's obvious. Humor's, like, the most objective thing ever, but
yeah.
I think you gotta remember, it's been 30 years. You can't write it like you can't go into this mindset of, we have to make this movie like it's in the 80s.
Yeah, there's a different mindset. There's a different audience.
Also, even in real life, humor has changed. So even in the Star Wars universe, it's been 30 years, so humor has changed.
Right, right.
I didn't feel like the humor was overdone in this movie.
Yeah.
Thought there was one really weird scene, though.
I definitely... There were
Do you know what scene I'm going to talk about?
A humorous scene?
Maybe it was supposed to be humor, but a scene that's just like, oh my god. Like, it scarred me.
Oh, I had that as one. One of the common complaints is the alien milk.
Yes.
See, the thing is, it's funny how, like, that's one thing that I can totally see being polarizing. I just thought that was just funny. Like, I just was like, I love really, like, weird humor like that. And to me, it was clearly supposed to be funny. To me, that was how I took it.
Well, here, I did it a little differently. So are you done?
And, well, that's actually, I was getting into, the humor serves a purpose. They were trying to show how Luke lives on the island.
It's like, this way he doesn't have to go out and go anywhere.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe it was also like a callback to where he's gone through all this stuff, he's trying to go back to his childhood living on the farm?
Yeah, and I think they were trying to show he's living at such a bare minimum.
Would that have been the milk he drank? You know, when...
I think it's different, because this was like... It was like a different color a bit. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's different. I think I've heard that it's not the same, like, animal. But yeah, that was they really went into that.
They went.
Like, the thing, to me, I just found it funny. I don't, like...
I thought it was disgusting.
I mean, no, but
it scarred me.
It was disgusting, but it was funny, and, like, I don't know.
I was like, oh.
That was one thing I totally get it being polar. I was like, some people are gonna think this is just gross.
I mean, it could have been worse if Luke just didn't put it in a cup. He just squirted. Hey, Ray, you want a sip? Then it's just like, oh, Luke, what's happened to you?
It was so funny because she was looking at this beautiful creature, and then after that happened, she was like looking at it in a different way. Just like, oh god.
Oh, and then the milk is stained in his beard.
Yeah. I think it was also, he kind of gave a look of like, this is how I'm living. See how pathetic
It's like he's an alcoholic.
See, that's the thing. I feel like the humor served a purpose, and another one I like it.
I'll agree. It didn't feel like the humor was just, oh, we're just trying to be funny. And like, it felt like it never took me out of it.
Yeah, I saw people also complain that the very beginning, where Poe was like kind of like not respecting General Hux, and it was almost like a parody. It felt like at the beginning, where it was just like General Hugs. The hugs was like with Poe over the phone thing, like that. Can you hold? Like, it felt like a parody of Star Wars almost at the beginning. But I think it was purposefully trying to show that General Hux is not that great of a leader. He's not that commanding. He's just like a space Nazi who doesn't deserve to be respected, and he doesn't get respected. So it served a purpose in my mind.
The opening.
Yeah, it was when it was Poe came over like the communications on the ship when General Hux was talking to him.
I'll just say one of my biggest problems with the movie.
Yeah.
maybe it's just me, but boy, that 2.5-hour runtime was so long. That is...
Yeah.
And to me, a lot of times it didn't feel earned. The 2.5 hour, like I was just like, some scenes feel really dragged out.
Yeah, I mean, I will get to like I would say that my least favorite chunk of the movie, and this is where like, it's kind of in line with a lot of people. My least favorite chunk of the movie was the Canto Bight, the casino planet.
Yeah,
it just felt like. That's a little bit... it felt like that's a little bit where they could have cut, and it almost seemed like they did. So it simultaneously felt rushed, but it also felt like the runtime was going on.
It felt a little prequelish to me.
Yeah, no, that part... I actually wrote that. That felt like a pre... But then I go back and see the prequels, and I remember that it's not even close to me. And like that's the thing, is all of the... Some things that I don't think are as great, like that segment... don't ruin it to me. So like it's just kind of my least favorite part of the movie, but it was still enjoyable. Like I thought the looking around in the casino and seeing all of the wacky things, it felt very prequel-ish, but at the same time, like I don't know, like it wasn't unenjoyable. I wasn't like, this is stupid. Like it was just fine. So I guess that takes out one of my later things too, but yeah, that was basically my first point, was that the humor didn't take away from it to me. I actually, to mention, like, it's one of the cheesiest moments, but one of my favorites was when Rey was like, she literally reached out to feel the Force, and then Luke like tickled her with the, like...
That was funny.
To me, that was funny. And the Porg sadly staring at Chewie as he was eating. That part, I was like... That was the part where I was actually, like, genuinely kind of cracking up. And a lot of people
You're a sick person if that makes you laugh.
But no, I was feeling for the Porg so much.
I felt bad in that scene.
I know,
like,
but...
Oh my god.
It was like reaction. Like, I was just like, oh my god.
But then he got a new buddy.
Yeah.
Right, that's the same Porg that hangs out with Chewbacca, right?
I don't know, they all look the same.
Yes.
But, yeah, okay, so, do you have a point to bring up?
Oh, I'm so ready for the hate. The Luke Skywalker stuff was my favorite part of the movie, and I liked seeing how it was about how he was now a legend. Like,
yeah.
This is Luke Skywalker, the Jedi Master! And I think... And I liked how we saw that after what happened, that he was this guy who was broken. And for me, a thing that really separates Luke stuff from me versus how other people feel is that, you know, some people are upset about how Luke kind of gave up and all that. But for me, this movie was about him becoming the guy he once was again.
Right.
So, like, for me... If the story of Luke had ended with him just being like, I'm done.
Like, what do you want? A completely developed character that doesn't, like, you already have a perfect character who, like, I mean, I feel like you need to redo some character development.
I think, like, if they had ended it where Luke comes back and he's like, I'm done again, it's just like, what? But I feel like the main part of the thing that makes it work so much is that it's him becoming the guy he was in the original trilogy again.
Right.
And, well, this could be I guess I can separate that into another point. So what was your thoughts about Luke in the movie?
That was one of my points, too, is that a lot of people didn't like Luke's characterization. I personally loved it. And another thing that I think is humor establishing plot, which is important, is when the first thing, like I know that this is a thing that might feel like a slap in the face to people, but I loved, was we waited 2 years to see what happens after that moment where Rey's handing a lightsaber over to Luke at the top of the island, and he just tosses it behind him. And like, to me, that was kind of like almost a little bit like borderline slapsticky humor, but it just served the plot so well.
Yeah, it shows like he doesn't want to
You
come
immediately
back.
know what Luke is like in that moment, and to me, that's good movie making if you can show something that quick. And just that it makes sense, and that's. So I understand, like, people not liking Luke's characterization because it's like, it feels like the people are saying, like, it feels like a betrayal to who he once was, that like, oh, our favorite character, his life sucked for 30 years.
Oh, I will say this. Because I understand where some fans are coming from. When they announced this new trilogy, most people thought was going to be more of Luke Han and their adventures. And I understand if we've now had 2 movies, and we're not going to see classic Luke until the 3rd one, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just I think it might be a little bit of an incorrect assumption, really. It has the original cast, but I don't think it's about them. It's,
like, I think, like, that was what people wanted. Though.
Yeah.
And I understand. It's a little bit like, I understand if you wanted to see the Luke, you only get like one scene of it in this movie, and then you'll get it in the 3rd one still, but he'll have a smaller part. Like, I understand where it's just like,
yeah.
I almost wonder if maybe the Luke people would have accepted the Luke story more had this happened in the 1st movie instead of building up to it. And then 3rd one's where you finally get the...
Yeah, it can feel like it's happening really slowly.
Yeah.
Especially with... Technically, only like 19 hours have gone by since The Force Awakens now, if you think about it. Like, something like that, where if you noticed how short of a time the entire 2.5 hour
I have not thought about that.
Because they said that they had... I don't know exactly how much time actually passed, but at some point they imagined that they had 19 hours. And I don't even think it got to that point. They escaped before that. So that means that not even a day has passed since the end of The Force Awakens. So we're starting episode 3. So it can feel like barely anything has happened.
Oh, I also... Mark Hamill did a great performance.
Yeah,
and it felt like, he's playing... It felt like he's playing 2 roles in here, kind of. Like, one is Hermit Luke, the other is Classic Luke. I thought he did a great job playing both.
That was great. And to add to Luke's characterization point, one thing that people didn't like that Luke debated killing Ben Solo for a moment and then decided not to, sort of. Like, they were just like, Luke wouldn't kill someone, how did you... He didn't, first of all. He didn't kill anyone. And isn't kind of part of the thing in Star Wars is that you kind of can't be... You kind of can't not be tempted by the dark side.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and when, they're talking about... how Luke tried to kill him, I didn't believe him. But I was like, but if he did, man, F this movie. Screw this movie. But I think the important thing is it's kind of like if Batman says, I'm going to kill the Joker, he can do it. But the moment he's about to, he realizes he can't do it. To me, that's the part where, okay, that's the important thing is that Luke, he thought about it and he's just like, I can't do it. That's not who I am. I'm not a murderer.
Yeah, so I mean, like, that's part of the thing is that, like, being a Jedi, like, you're always going to have this temptation towards the dark side, but you overcome it.
Yeah.
And he did. So, like, I feel like it's kind of a moot point to me because...
It would have, I feel like the important thing is that he didn't do it. Now, had he started slicing him and then I was just like, oh, God, this...
Yeah.
I would have agreed with all the people, but for me, the important thing is that he thought about, but then he realized, like, I can't do it. Like, that's not who I am, so...
Yeah. So, yeah. I guess we kind of both said our points about Luke's characterization.
Well,
is that all,
I did have one other
thing. Okay.
Luke. So, a lot of people are unhappy that Luke died in this movie. And I'll say this... he's coming back in the 3rd one. Like, he even said in an interview about how he was excited for, who was the guy who left? Who was directing the 3rd one?
Colin Trevorrow?
Yeah, he said he was excited with the stuff he was working with on Colin. So he's coming back in the 3rd one. Like, Obi-Wan died in A New Hope, but there he is in the other 2, so...
Yeah.
I liked how the final Luke scene in this movie, the end of Luke's life, technically.
Yeah.
Even though, he'll be hanging out again.
Yeah.
I liked how when it ends with him looking at the 2 sons and they're playing the music again, it felt like it made the whole thing come full circle. I liked how, unlike Han, he had like a moment of just peace before becoming one with the Force, and he's just like, well, I did it. Like, he knows, like, he made the galaxy a better place.
Like, I feel like Han Solo's death was supposed to feel like, this is what's happening to your childhood. Take this, childhood. Like, they did that to mess with your emotions, and this one, I feel like they're trying to go the other directions where it almost doesn't feel that bad. It's just he's kind of being let go. So I liked that about it.
Plus, I mean, he's coming back, guys.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, come on. Yeah. So.
Just like someone did in this movie.
Ooh.
We told you there'd be spoilers.
Ooh. So I guess my next thing I'm going to say... Actually, I'll get into this little one first, and that's that another complaint I saw a lot was... And I think this is a little bit... coming from that kind of group of people who likes to bombard with reviews, but just the whole like kind of thinking that Admiral Holdo, Laura Dern's character was like a stupid character, and that like she sabotaged
names. Is she the purple hair one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And kind of the whole like she would refuse to like listen to Poe, and like. I guess the point is to say I actually really loved the character of Admiral Holdo, especially with how it turned out, like at the end of her story. But like it was kind of, you always want to side with one of the main protagonists. With Poe, he wanted to do his own thing and go in and blow stuff up, but she was like, no, I'm in charge here. And she refused to tell him her plan. And a lot of complaints I saw were people going like, she's so stupid. Why didn't she just tell the plan? And none of this would have happened. But to her, he's just some, like, why would she reveal, like, if he feels important to us because he's one of the protagonists, one of the main characters, but why does she have to, like, reveal her plan to some random guy? It's literally all Poe's fault. So that was just kind of my take on one of those, is to all the people. And also that brings me to one of my two favorite scenes in the entire movie was the light speed just missile into the ship when Admiral Holdo sacrificed herself. And the whole thing just went silent.
Oh yeah.
There's just no noise.
You know, one with flying Leia?
No. This is when Admiral Holdo was in the ship alone. Remember? And then
I'm gonna be honest, guys. Yeah, very long movie. Those were kind of scenes I mentally checked out on.
Well, this is like a very, very climactic scene. It wasn't. I mean, it was happening alongside the Rey and Kylo Ren in Snoke's throne room when the lightsaber blew up. You must have just fallen asleep.
I'll be honest, guys. This is like... Here's the thing. I said I had like a mixed reaction. I was satisfied by what I came there for. The other stuff I didn't really care about.
Well, I honestly, like, that whole segment of, like, whatever, like, 15, 20-minute segment, whatever it was, where Admiral Holdo was preparing to sacrifice herself as the others were trying to get away.
I remember, like, she's, like, saying, like, she's going to stay behind, and Leia says, may the Force be with you.
Sort of around that part. And then also when Kylo Ren and Rey are in Snoke's throne room, and...
I remember the throne room.
And also they're both trying to force call the lightsaber at the same time, and it blows up. They juxtapose it where at the exact same time the lightsaber blew up and the ship light speed launched into the First Order ship at the same time.
Now, you're dusting off some of the cobwebs.
Yes, that is the best part of the movie to me. That is the thing that, like, jumps, like, it's an amazing movie because of that part.
I think probably I was so into the Snoke throne room scene that I was just like, come back.
That's the thing. But I love that they happen at the same. But I have to say, the best part of the entire movie, I want to get to it more later, but the Snoke's throne room with Rey and Kylo Ren is the best part of the movie to me. I don't even know how I was talking about Admiral Holdo as a character, and a lot of people were saying that some other character should have been the one to sacrifice, like Admiral Akbar, who didn't get a very significant ending. He was just kind of like... And Admiral... he died.
Well, the voice actor died, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
Yeah, that's true. But to me, this is kind of the thing, is like, this new... this new trilogy is about introducing new characters, and like the whole idea is that Star Wars is this bigger thing than just this one family who messes everything up in the universe. So I think people kind of need to stop fussing about them adding new characters. I think it's fine.
Here's what I would,
as long as they're good characters.
Here's what I would say. Oh, okay. I kind of feel like the story of the saga should end with 9. So I feel like, when you look at so it almost feels like a 3-act play or something, where each act has different leads.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I would like to think of this as like the finale, so I kind of feel like this is, the new character story. Obviously, we still have those ones.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest, I had 2 controversial Star Wars opinions. Honestly, I don't want 10, 11, 12. I think we should end the story and do something completely separate.
Yeah.
But I'll say, if this is their story, have it be, because it lines up where each trilogy has different leads.
Right. No, I see. The thing is, I actually agree with you. I personally would want them to, I think they are universe-building Star Wars, trying to make it more than just these characters that have been in these 3 trilogies. Because, the way this movie ended with just some random kid having Force sensitivity that they showed at the very, very end, I think that what they were trying to do is say, there's tons of people, kids out there and people who have the Force, and they're not Skywalkers. They're just some people have the Force out there, and I think that's kind of universe building and saying we're going to take Star Wars in a direction where it could be anyone's story. It doesn't have to be a Skywalker. It doesn't have to be a Solo. It can be anyone's story, and I think that's kind of what they're going towards.
Can I say, this is bringing up some other stuff I'm remembering.
Yeah.
So, I feel like if we get 10, 11, 12, I think it will have been a mistake not to have if we're going to keep having more movies with these 3 new characters, I think it would have been a mistake to not have more of the original characters.
Right.
But if this is their story, then I think they're doing it the right way. But
yeah, it's hard because part of me also does think if they do make 10, 11, and 12, I'd be fine with them just calling it 10, 11, and 12, but it's sort of like they're starting a new story. It'd be kind of weird, but I guess I kind of am on your side where I think I would want them to just go elsewhere with Star Wars. If they're really trying to build it to where it's closing this story, and then there's infinite possibilities, and they can just hammer in this franchise everywhere, then I do think they should try and really close it. So
this also reminded me about how some people are mad about Luke's role in the movie, about how he wasn't the main.
Yeah.
I will say, in one of my complaints of the movie, in Force Awakens, it felt like Han was co-leading with Rey and Poe and Finn. Yeah. In this movie, Luke feels like a guest star or secondary. It doesn't feel like with Han Solo.
Yeah. I think this is one of those this is tough because this is a preference thing, but I think, to me, I just really... One of my complaints was I was disappointed to not... And one of the things that makes me still maybe, sometimes think I might like Force Awakens better is I love Rey and Finn together so much, and I didn't get that.
Well, to be fair, we also... It did remind me of Empire about how they were separated.
Yeah. So, no, I'm fine with that. Because, I get it, and now it's but the next one.
Yeah.
The next one. I don't know. So I think if people just like the original characters and they just don't care about Rey and Finn, then I'm sorry. I guess the trilogy isn't for you that much, because it's kind of about them. But...
I do think that... Do you think that people mad... don't think Luke is coming back in 9? Because I feel like he's going to be back in 9. Do you think?
I think people are mad for a lot of reasons.
Do you think people feel like one of the reasons they're so mad because Luke barely had any screen time compared to Han, I feel. Do you think they don't know he's coming back in 9?
I think that's just one... I think that that's probably one thing that a lot of people do think, but I think that there are way too many reasons that people don't like this.
Can I say... no, we'll save it for what we think is coming next.
Okay.
I got a prediction. Some people may call it stupid, but I think it's going to happen, and I think it'd be awesome.
I have some predictions about the next one, but yeah. So... I don't even know where we were or who we were going.
Let's see. What was the last thing you saw in your notes? Because were we on your thing?
I was talking about Admiral Holdo, and then we segued that into a bunch of things. Maybe you're next.
All right. So I really liked Rey's arc in this movie.
Yes.
And I liked how she was, I liked how it showed how she's trying to bring back this legend.
Yeah.
It got to be intimidating because,
Yeah.
I really liked how they made how Luke is like the legend. So it's got to be like intimidating, and he keeps rejecting her because of what happened with Kylo. And then I liked how she because I like how she kind of made the mistake of thinking that what happened with Vader could happen with Kylo, and she tried to save him, but just like how Luke couldn't save him, Rey couldn't save him either. So I really liked Rey's arc in the movie.
Yeah.
So anything to say about
actually my next point segues nicely. So I'll just say I loved Rey's arc in the movie, and I kind of have another suspicion of why some people didn't like this, because some people just like their expectations to be filled, and if it's not met, they'll be disappointed. And one of my next one, which is along the same lines, which is one of the biggest things I think, is Rey turned out to be a nobody. She wasn't a Skywalker. She wasn't a Kenobi. She's just Rey, and her parents abandoned her. And
there's no way she can be a Kenobi, right?
I mean, people...
She's not 30.
People had the stupidest theories. I don't know. People were saying anything. But to me, personally, I had almost no doubt in my mind that she was going to be a nobody. Like, I didn't understand the theorizing from the beginning. Like, even back in the Force... There are some people who were so sure she was going to be a Skywalker or something that they were just like... They teased us and made it so obvious that she was related to someone for years, and then she just wasn't. And to me, it was like... She wasn't...
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I think eventually you'll kind of get half and half, where I feel like with Luke mentoring her as a Force Ghost, I feel like even though they're not biologically related, you'll have that kind of relationship.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be that Force connection.
A father-daughter relationship.
But yeah, so I guess what I was saying, though, is that I think it was a little easier for me to like this because my expectations were met so, like, it was just like, that was exactly what I expected to happen. Not in a way that was like, it was predictable, where it was just like, well, I saw that coming, but it was sort of like, this is what made the most sense in the plot to me. It's the thing that makes it the most compelling, and so I resonated with it. So I guess I'm understanding where some people might be like, what the heck? That's why they just made it nothing. There's no twist. It's just stupid.
So this point kind of segues into another point I have.
Okay.
Of what I liked. And I liked how, Force Awakens was pretty similar to A New Hope. And I liked how this film starts out being very similar to Empire and Return of the Jedi. Like, Luke is almost Yoda. Mm-hmm. And the stuff with Rey and Kylo Ren is almost Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. And when I remember watching it the first time, and there's a part of me that was thinking, why are we even making this trilogy? Because it's so similar. But then it twists it. Suddenly, once Kylo kills Snoke, it felt like it was done on purpose to make you think it was going to be the carbon copy, and then it twists it to where it's just like, oh, so now like things are different. It makes Kylo almost seem more dangerous.
Yeah.
Because now he doesn't have a master and he can just whatever. Yeah. So,
and one of my favorite things about this trilogy, period, is Kylo Ren. To me, he's like, I'm not saying he's like the best designed villain, but in terms of the type of villain he is, he's like my favorite kind of villain. A type of villain where he's conflicted and he just seems unpredictable, and like I've seen it described before. He's like Anakin done right, like prequel Anakin done right, where he's like an immature man-child, but in this time, it feels more real to me, actually. Of course, we're comparing it to the prequels, so it's like...
Almost anything is more real. No one goes to the beach and complains about the sand.
I borderline think Kylo Ren, like, stole the show in this movie. Like, it was great villainy in this. Just... Yeah. Super, if he's evil, on a chart. He's a chaotic evil. He's a, or even neutral maybe. But yeah, I just love, like, that was one of the moments in it where I was just, I like when he sliced Snoke in half. I mean, I really didn't know exactly where it was gonna go with. Is Kylo Ren gonna turn? Is Rey gonna turn? Like, because I figure that episode 9, and we'll probably get into this more when we're going to the future, but I figure in the end there's probably going to be like a good ending, as in I felt like maybe Rey will turn in this, and then the next one will be her realizing that was wrong to do, or, which is kind of what happened a bit, Kylo Ren, well, actually, what I didn't expect was for Kylo Ren to turn, quote-unquote, good for a second, and then it subverts again, and he's not actually good.
I felt like this confirms he's not going to be redeemed at all. He's going to be killed.
I think...
And I feel like almost like if they redeem him, it'd be a little cheap.
I disagree a bit. I don't... Do you really think they're going to, like... This character... I don't know if they're going to kill such a conflicted character at the core. Like, it seems a little like...
I feel like this movie showed there's no way Kylo will ever be redeemed.
I think he is
still going to die evil.
I think he's still a bit gray.
Really?
I think that he wanted to be in... He's still not committed to the First Order. I think he like wants something, and he... but I don't think it's complete allegiance to the First Order. I think he's like, he wants to be in charge. He hubris. He wants to show strength, but he doesn't have this adherence to the dark side or something.
So you think there's a chance he'll become redeemed?
I think that there's a chance that he will die. He will either be redeemed or die still not completely, or in the end still not be completely evil, I guess.
I felt like this movie showed he is pure evil and there's no way he's going to be redeemed.
I think he still seemed like such a man-child that I just didn't see him as that evil.
That's how I felt. I felt like...
it's hard to tell at this point. I find it hard to believe that this, what is essentially a Disney movie, is going to end with the brutal killing of one of Ben Solo. I don't know. I could see it. At the same time, like, I mean, another...
I feel if they do it, it's a little bit too much like Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, but that's why I was thinking he wouldn't die, which would be different.
You mean like he goes to space prison, or...
No, like that he's... I don't know. That he's just good.
I don't think there's any way. No. He's like, guys... April Fools, and then Han Solo comes out and he's like, we got you.
I'm only saying that because I'm trying to think of, like, they're trying to subvert expectations so much that I'm just trying to think of how it could even be done. I haven't thought about this that much.
I don't think there's any way he survives 9. I don't think there's any way he becomes good again.
Yeah, I mean, you could very well be right. I'm just, at the same time, like, that almost... It almost seems too predictable for movies in general, but I guess if it's Star Wars, that actually is... They're not... It would be subverting the expectation for it to be like Return of the Jedi, so... But we don't know, so...
We don't. We gotta go to JJ's house, take his laptop, print the script, and find out.
Which is what my plan was.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and the other thing, on the same line, I guess I'm going to mine at this point. On the same line of Rey being nobody, there's also people who are very upset that Snoke basically doesn't have any lore. He's kind of he was just bad guy. He was bad space guy. He is just Snoke. Like, he really was just a scary guy, and we don't know the history of him at all. And a lot of people were upset with that because they found that to be bad writing. But the most common counter to that I've seen is
That was the
in
Empire.
the original trilogy, the Emperor was like, they made a trilogy to explain it. So, like, and the other thing is, he's dead. Like, so, like, yeah, like, I mean, so yeah, he was nobody, but I guess he was a plot device to show who Kylo Ren is really going to be. So I think that's fine to me.
I
Like,
think
it's not about Snoke. He's not the bad guy. Kylo Ren is.
I think maybe there were some... I don't understand that complaint either about that. But I think... Would it have been cool if somehow there was some kind of past between Luke and Snoke? Like, maybe Snoke... Well, there is a past between them. Never mind.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't like the kind of twists where they just kind of reveal that there's some link between people, but they haven't shown it. They haven't proven that there's like, that's the reason why I thought that Rey being related to someone would be such a stupid twist, because, like, so what if they say, Rey, you're a Skywalker? It's like, you're just throwing a name
copying
in?
that.
I mean, you're just throwing a name in? There's, like, I mean...
I think...
And that's why with Snoke, a lot of people were saying, like, what if he is this guy? What if he's this guy? Or, like, for example, like, there were people saying, what if he is Darth Sidious? Or not Darth Plagueis the Wise from a name drop in the prequel trilogy was Darth Sidious. I'm losing it at this point. Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Guys,
and so
Star Wars has very complicated names.
So... People were saying
is like the easiest.
Yeah. People are saying, what if he's Darth Plagueis? And it's like, so what? Like, you're just gonna say he's Darth Plagueis? Like, what is that twist exactly?
I almost feel like if Darth Plagueis had been, you know, throughout the whole thing, it almost would have made it feel like, what did the original trilogy accomplish?
I mean, just loosely connecting a new thing to an old thing just through a name is way cheaper than just creating a new character.
I think that... I feel like that's almost like not getting what you want and getting mad. Like, it's... I almost put on the level of if I had went to see Batman vs. Superman, and I was one of the few people who liked it. I feel like it's almost like me complaining that Robin didn't show up.
Yeah, actually, you know what it's a little like? It's a little like, if they would have said, if he's like, I'm not actually... They call me Snoke, but I was originally known as Darth Plagueis the Wise. That would be the same type of thing as, why don't you use your original or other name, Robin? Like, it's just sort of like, you just threw a name at me?
Yeah.
Like, you're not actually showing me anything, you're just throwing a name at me.
Yeah, I think that... I don't think, though, that we needed an origin, and to also bring up Batman, people love the Heath Ledger Joker, but we don't have an origin for that character.
Yeah, I mean... Sometimes seeming menacing.
All we need to know is that somehow there was another Sith.
Yeah.
And he and Luke were enemies, and now...
I mean, part of this trilogy is 30 years went by and a lot has happened.
Yeah.
And you don't get to know, which... Personally, I'm not someone who has... Like, I know a lot of people, and this is a criticism that J.J. Abrams in particular gets, is creating mystery, and you don't even know where it's actually going to go yet. It's just mystery for the sake of mystery. That's something I personally don't mind, and it's another reason why my taste just happens to fit these movies better.
I mean, so when Snoke... I'm trying to think. I don't want to sound stupid about this, but so does Snoke have anything to do with the Empire then, or?
I think he mostly was just that he was a leader of the First Order.
I'll just say I like how, you know, Snoke was like a separate thing than just a continuation of that. I liked how Luke's defeated this enemy, but now this new enemy has arisen.
I mean, the Force Awakens starts with the First Order's a thing. It's been going on for a bit now. So that means there clearly was some new leader, I like how it's not just like,
a continuation of the Empire. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
it's a new.
Is, I
mean, each trilogy has a different thing.
Yeah,
because the prequels have the Sith.
Yeah,
not the Empire. The original trilogy has the Empire, and now there's the First Order. So,
I liked how it's separate. I don't think you really need an origin for Snoke.
Yeah, you don't need an origin.
Would it have been cool if they had come up with something? Sure, but it's not necessary. Like, I'm not saying I would have hated it if they had said he was secretly someone. Like,
yeah, I mean, I just think that they would have.
He was a stormtrooper that Luke shot when rescuing Leia.
They would have to earn it a bit more, and I just didn't see that there was enough there to have earned it to me.
I feel like it doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah,
if he had been
he's dead.
If he, or is he?
He could come back with like spider legs, and it's just his torso. I think someone made that joke before.
I mean,
shout out to whoever said that first.
Andy Serkis is just like, I don't know, is he coming back? I hope he doesn't come back because he's dead. Let's not undo. But I think like, had he been someone, I've been fine with it. If he's not someone, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
it just doesn't really matter for me.
It didn't matter to me. So, do you have another point?
Well, this could be real quick. I thought Kylo had an interesting story in the film, and I liked how with one of the problems that they had was how Kylo and Rey are both having trouble with who's supposed to be their mentor.
Yeah.
Like, these guys have been in, like, a conflict for, how long? Well, it's been a while, like... How long have Luke and... Well, however long Luke and Snoke have been against each other, now kind of their mentorees are disagreeing, and now they're kind of trying to come together.
I mean, it all at least happened within 30 years. I don't know the exact timeline. So.
Yeah, I liked how Kylo's story was kind of similar to Rey's about how he's not happy with his mentor, Rey's not happy with the mentor, and then they try to come together and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So that's a real quick thing. I just want to say, one of my favorite scenes in the movie, it might be well, it's one of them.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes was when Luke goes to the Millennium Falcon and R2 is there and he plays the message. And it's like, once again, it goes full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
that was great. Actually, since we're talking about Luke and nostalgic moments in the movie, one of my other favorite scenes that I actually totally didn't expect, was the return of Yoda.
Yes!
I loved that scene.
Now, were you like me and thought, yeah, it's cool they made that CGI look like a puppet? I
think they might have used a puppet and put it in.
Yeah, but when I first saw it, I didn't realize it was a puppet. I thought, we're going to be expensive. But I
loved how it looked, because I think CGI Yoda looks really stupid.
Yeah, I liked how, I guess it was a puppet. So
I think they probably green screened a puppet and plopped it into the movie.
I liked how, when you'll be able to watch them, if it's more versus, wow, Yoda looks real different in this. And then it goes back to the way he was in Clone Wars. But I really liked how, they had the puppet. I liked the design of Yoda. I liked how they brought him back.
Yeah.
It just, it's a fun little thing to have, and it made sense to have Luke kind of like has lost his way to have his mentor come back, so then Luke can mentor Rey. So I really liked Yoda in the movie.
I loved. I mean,
oh, this also reminded me of something.
Yeah.
I think it was important to remind people of Force Ghosts because it shows Luke's coming back.
Yeah, it establishes it again. I mean, yeah, the whole thing was just like such an amazing scene to me. Just the whole like everything the girl needs, she already has kind of thing. So like, don't care so much about the Jedi texts, the sacred texts, and also, my two favorite lines Yoda said. First of all, just the page turners, they were not. I love that, and then his last little line there, which just felt like a send off to me. I don't think we're getting.
What was his line?
The last line he said was, "We are what they grow beyond. That is the burden of all masters. The true burden of all masters." But yeah, it was kind of a nice little final statement of kind of showing like now Luke knows what it was like to be in Yoda's position, and they just kind of have that connection. And I feel like, you know, Yoda's probably not going to be back in 9.
Well, I'll say something about 9. I don't know how true it is, but I just got a feeling.
Yeah.
For 9. But we'll talk about that at the end of this.
Yeah.
Which is now longer than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Congratulations, world. You proved me wrong again.
Yep. Yeah, it happens.
So who just did their point?
In a bit, I just added to yours. I have a quick one, so I'll just say.
Okay.
I wrote this because I thought it'd be funny because it feels like one that people would get mad about. So
okay.
I'm not sure though. I'm not sure of the total reception on this. I'm surprised how much I actually really liked the Porgs. Because they're just, like, it seems like an obvious little marketing thing to have these cute things that you can sell stuff of. But it was just delightful to me.
Han's pet, Chewie now has a pet.
Yeah. The Porgs are great. I support the Porgs. I said 100% I'm in support of the Porgs.
Porgs, there's something.
I'm sold on it. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't hate the Porgs.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it could have been an annoying thing.
Yeah.
It could have been really annoying and forced feeling, and it didn't feel that way to me. It just, I'm in support, so you can.
So this one's probably quick. Yeah, I really liked, as we mentioned multiple times, I liked the Rey and Kylo Ren fight scene. I also liked the final thing between Luke and Kylo. Kind of like this was the scene where we got the Luke that people have been wanting since Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And so I thought that scene was cool.
There were a lot of people who were mad that they didn't clash lightsabers.
It still is kind of an action.
It's a lightsaber duel in a way. Come on.
They're both ignited, I think.
Yeah.
It is an action scene, so.
Yeah,
I really liked the Luke scene.
I loved that scene.
I was satisfied.
Yeah, me too. I loved that scene, and I'm always an idiot with picking up on twists. I'm always like, I didn't see that coming. I'm really stupid in that regard. And this followed through. I didn't see it come. I was just like, he looks different. Huh, weird. I
thought they were going to M. Night Shyamalan it. When he put the thing... I thought, oh my, has he been dead this whole time?
Oh no, I actually for a second thought he was dead even when Rey was talking to him, and I was like, no, that's for a second I thought that too, like, that was a great scene. I don't know where we are now. Okay. I loved the Force connection between Rey and Kylo Ren. Because to me it was a really fantastic way to link and have communication between characters where you really aren't going to get a good way for them to properly communicate otherwise, because they're in completely different places. There's, like, how else are they going to be one-on-one and have communication? And that Force connection was a really interesting way to do that.
Plus, having them talk kind of gives, like, a reason for them when they turn into mentors to come together.
Yeah, it gives them that human connection of... and they're both people who, like... don't have a lot of human connection, and they have this one similar thing that kind of brings them together. And I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That's just something I full on liked. I feel like it's a very... Star Wars has always been very character driven, but like this is just more of that. It's some well done character driven plot there. So that's my point. Do you have anything else?
Well, now we get to what I didn't like.
All right.
So, as I said earlier, I think the 2.5 hour runtime was a mistake, and I felt it made certain scenes feel really dragged out. And I honestly believe that cutting 15 to 30 minutes of the movie would have made it better.
Yeah.
It would have brought, in my opinion, from a 7 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. Cutting 15 to 30 minutes, so... Did you feel anything was dragged out? You gave it a 10 out of 10.
I don't know if I gave it. I don't remember what I said. I think I'd give it like a 9 or something. So like
did you ever feel like it was dragged out, or because this is significant? Well, I don't know if it is the longest Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it is,
and I really hope that 9 isn't this long.
I guess it didn't like. I wasn't really like, oh my god, this is way too long. But I did feel it at times where I was like, maybe they could have done this more efficiently. And I definitely felt that. I also felt that with, like, it almost seemed like possible to cut the character DJ a little bit.
Yes.
Like, it felt like that was maybe my least favorite new character. And it's like, I get it. It's showing this neutral, like, I don't know if it would be possible to cut him. I'm not a movie maker.
Did you hear what the original plan might have been?
What?
To have Lando in his place.
Interesting.
I would prefer that.
That actually would have been good because I don't know, like it just.
I didn't like his character.
I didn't totally get it.
I didn't think the performance was that good either.
Yeah, it was kind of like they added he had a like weird speech quirk just to make him seem different and like a memorable character. But I had to go to the bathroom really bad during my first viewing, and one of his scenes came up, and I was like, all right, this is my time. It was right after the Yoda scene where I was like, okay, I got a good scene in. This character's up. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
So you left? In the middle of the movie?
Well, no, to just go to the bathroom.
I know, but you actually...
And the second time I know what scene I missed, and I was like, yeah, they could have cut that.
I would have held it.
No, I really couldn't. Yeah, it's a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't going to enjoy the rest of it if I I really had to go, and I was really glad I did because there were some amazing scenes after that I didn't want to be suffering through.
I felt like because I felt the 2.5 hour runtime was so long that by the time right before the Luke and Kylo scene, I was like, I'm ready to go home, guys. Let's just wrap this up.
Yeah. I do feel like this is almost something that will be a little bit more tolerable when you can just like watch it at home and take it in chunks. Because like I don't mind long run times at all, and I even I like extended editions. Some of these scenes in here, like I would be like the movie that I got personally, I would like that because I also know that they can't redo some stuff that.
They can, well, we know with the special editions.
Yeah, that's true. They should add in way more special effects, and they should make the casino scene even noisier. With just things thrown around everywhere.
What was the aliens from Return of the Jedi that goes
yeah, my least favorite part of the entire original trilogy, honestly, is the cantina in Return of the Jedi,
which was not there originally.
Yeah, I know that part is like, wow, that is jarring. But yeah, they should add that. Yeah, it'd be again for me. It didn't take it down that much at all. It was more to me. I guess I look at it. It wasn't the runtime. It was what they chose to put in the runtime.
Yeah,
I guess that's kind of an obvious statement, but. I wasn't thinking of it as like this is too long. I was thinking these could have been different to make it feel better for the whole length.
One of the things, one of the problems I have with the run is I liked the Luke and I liked the Kylo and Rey stuff, but the other subplots I didn't care for.
Yeah, that seems to be a lot of people's opinions. I didn't hate those like a lot of people. Like there are a lot of people who just hate the character Rose, and she felt like a little filler of a character. Like they needed someone to go adventure with Finn, but I didn't hate her. Like she was fine. Like it was, it's not like I can imagine someone going, "That's my favorite Star Wars character, Rose." But it's like
she should have been the Last Jedi.
Yeah, but it was like she was fine. They had good chemistry with Finn and all, but it was also my least favorite subplot of the movie. But that's fine to me. God, there was another thing I saw in here that I was gonna say. DJ, I lost it. I can't find the spot anymore. Do you have anything else?
I honestly really did not like Finn and Rose's story. I thought it was dull and boring. It reminded me of the prequels. It was a shame because of the 3 new characters, Finn was my favorite in The Force Awakens. So
yeah, that is like it kind of goes into my thing of where I was a little disappointed that I didn't see that same type of character chemistry because of throwing Finn with a new character instead of which I thought he had much better chemistry and it was much more fun to see him with Rey and BB-8. Well, he was with BB-8 in this, but
I just thought like the story they were doing was not interesting.
Well, that is actually what I was going to get into. Is that it did help establish one of the key themes in the movie, but that could have been done without adding so much runtime.
I think their scenes felt the most dragged out.
Yeah, and that is that the theme of this movie seemed to be failure. That every character failed in some way, and they had to just get past the fact that they failed. Luke failed Ben Solo in a way by like having that conflict, and the Resistance failed pretty hard by losing almost everybody.
Yeah,
they like really had a tough time there. Everything got blown up, and Finn, Rose, and Poe, and they failed their mission, and yeah, so it feeds into the theme of failure, which I thought was a great theme. I loved that. You know, just it didn't need to be a whole like a giant subplot. You know, I don't know. I definitely agree. I definitely agree that could have been done differently.
Yeah. So, probably the last thing, and I've mentioned it before, is I love the Luke stuff in this movie, but I felt it wasn't like what Han had, where Han felt like a co-lead with them.
Yeah.
This, he felt like a secondary character or like a guest star,
right?
Who was busy doing something else.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, again, it's not like with Han. Maybe it's different because Han was only in 1 movie and Luke will be in 2.
Yeah, I mean, if he's in 9, I mean, again, we're gonna get into this more, but I don't think he'll be in it that much.
Yeah,
like if he's a Force ghost, he's barely gonna be.
But I wonder what happens if like once we have the whole trilogy, maybe like over 2 movies, Luke's screen time will be the same amount that Han had in that 1 movie.
Yeah, but also considering the runtime, it probably isn't that different, really.
Yeah,
I mean, Han was a much more major character, but still. Yeah,
that's basically my points. So, did you have anything else, or did you want to go to what's next?
Yeah, I'll just kind of look through this and see if there's anything I missed. And yeah, like I said, my 2 favorite moments of this movie, and some of just the best Star Wars moments that people should appreciate these moments. Like I said, where the Kylo Ren and Rey facing off against the Praetorian Guards after Snoke was cut in half was just, as far as like action scenes in the Star Wars series goes, that's up there. That is an amazing scene to me. And just the cinematic choice with the light speed launch into the First Order ship. Which actually, another scene a lot of people were also, I actually didn't write this down, but a lot of people were disappointed that Captain Phasma still didn't get any more. And to me, it's like, I think Captain Phasma is a character that has such a cool design that I want to know more.
She is the Boba Fett.
But that's exactly it. We're just not going to know that much about Captain Phasma, and that's fine.
Do you think she's dead this time? Because I thought she died in Force Awakens.
A lot of people were saying,
and I was wrong.
A lot of people were thinking that she was dead for good this time, but I don't know. I think maybe a lot of people would think it'd be stupid if she comes back again, but I wouldn't mind it. I think it would be kind of a funny goof almost. Like, it would be kind of fun. Like,
plus it'd be like, looking at this as a trilogy, would be a cool way to kind of wrap up Finn's story.
Yeah. I mean, it really. We thought she died. We thought she went into a trash compactor and died. So I don't know if she's dead.
Did they ever explain how she got out?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I mean,
the Force.
Yeah. You know, I'm not too much of a plot guy. I don't care. I just, she's cool.
She's back. That's all that matters.
I don't care. And yeah, I had then my list of things I was slightly iffy about. I went over a couple, and then there's the scene, another scene that is, you know, has a lot of people talking, was the Leia flying through space and actually turning out to have survived. This is something on the first watch I was like, oh, like I actually had a moment where I was like, is this movie gonna suck? Like, I actually was really jarring to me, and I was like, what is this? The second viewing, and after thinking about it more, I am actually fine with it now.
Did they ever... They never showed anything like that in the original.
Well, that's the thing, is that, because I'm not the most enormous Star Wars fan, and I don't know all this deep lore and stuff, but apparently there are a lot of people who knew that Leia has Force sensitivity, but they've never shown it in a movie before. So I think a lot of people actually are happy that they finally showed Leia using the Force.
Oh, here's one thing. I'll say that's disappointing, but there was no way to know this in advance.
Yeah.
It's a little disappointing that in Leia's... Carrie Fisher's last Star Wars movie, she was unconscious for a big chunk of it.
I mean, I think that they probably...
there was no way they could have known what was going to happen.
I know, but I think that... Doesn't it seem like this was the movie that they were going to make, even, like, no matter what? Like, even if she hadn't have died, it seems like this is what would have happened.
Yeah, they said that they weren't going to change Episode 8.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's what I figured. So it is kind of weird to know, like, what are they going to do from here?
I don't know.
But, yeah, they had no way of knowing, so I just like to look at it like that. I just like to look at it
I mean,
like,
that's why I didn't bring it up as, like, a complaint. It's just they had no way of knowing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's something that was... I don't mind anymore. So that's all of my points, really. So we can get into...
What do we think is coming next?
What's coming next?
All
Episode 9, directed by J.J. Abrams.
Yes, as you are so excited. And apparently more people are more excited now.
Yeah.
Because it's been years since I've heard such nice things about The Force Awakens. So did you have anything... I only have, like, one thing I think is going to happen.
So, I mean, I think that we're going to... I think we're going to see a bit more confliction, I think. I'm glad that we're going to see more Rey and Finn. I mean, I think that's going to happen. I think we're certainly going to... I think it's going to be a bit more of a fun team thing for part of it, at least. More similar to The Force Awakens. Not in terms of plot, but, like, you know, they're all together again.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking forward to the most, really, is the hope that, you know, the gang's together.
So I have one prediction. It's just a feeling.
Okay.
And I think it'd be cool to see. I don't know how you'll feel about this or anyone else will feel.
Yeah.
But they said this trilogy will wrap up all 3 trilogies.
Yeah.
Now, we know Luke will be a Force ghost in here. But I think during the final battle between Kylo and Rey, you'll see Force ghosts of so many Jedis from out the trilogy.
It's going to be a giant battle.
I think it's going to be like, she's going to be like, I'm not alone, and you'll see Luke and everyone from Obi-Wan to Yoda to Mace Windu to Qui-Gon Jinn to Obi-Wan to even like his idol Darth Vader, aka Anakin, will be there. Yeah. I think they'll all kind of like combine and give her like the Force power to defeat him. So
yeah. Here's something I just thought of this. What if there's like another new Jedi, like someone, because I mean, the whole thing was like, you know, and I will not have been the last Jedi. Like, Rey is actually the last Jedi. But is she? So where are they going to go with that is what I'm wondering. There's going to be some...
You think she'll train another one?
No, I guess what I'm thinking is maybe it'll only just be hinted at, but there's probably going to be something to show, and I guess they already did this at the very last scene of The Last Jedi. Somehow show that the Jedi are coming back.
Yeah.
I think that's probably it'll end that way, in some way show that the Jedi are coming back. But because I haven't thought about it, I don't know how they're going to do that.
Oh, so I also have another prediction.
Yeah.
I think that's going to mirror the end of Return of the Jedi, where the First Order is defeated, and I think that it will end with, just like how Luke saw Obi-Wan, Yoda, and
Anakin.
I think
saw Hayden. He saw Hayden.
Oh,
Christensen,
yes.
You mean?
No,
Yeah,
I think it will end where Luke and the Force goes to Leia, and somehow through the Force he'll bring out back Han. So he'll have like a little cameo. I think it will end with them looking proud, like, "Hey, we're gone, but the universe is safe with them."
Yeah.
It's not gonna be like a whole big thing. But they'll look over and you'll see like a nod from Luke and all of them together, and that's a way to bring Carrie Fisher back.
I don't know if they do something so exact, but at the same time, I guess JJ's directing again. He might want to be super nostalgic again. We don't know. So, I also think something is going to happen. I think what we saw at the end of The Last Jedi, I'm pretty sure one thing we're going to see is the First Order trying to deal with not having a leader, and Kylo Ren trying to fill that hole, but Hux also trying to fill it. Yeah. So there's going to be this like back and forth between Kylo and
Could Hux team up with like Rey and them to defeat, and then like he'll turn?
Yeah, but I mean, there's another possibility. I know you really don't think so, but there's another possibility of where Kylo Ren could turn instead.
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think it's impossible, and I personally wouldn't think it's that stupid, even though it's a little bit too much like the past stuff. But yeah, I don't think that General Hux seems like enough of a main bad guy. He definitely doesn't seem like enough of a main bad guy for that to be the case. But I do think that there's going to be both of them being like trying to fill that space, the hole in leadership in the First Order. I think that's mainly what I think is going to happen. I really don't know how it's going to end up.
So, we have 9 coming out.
Yeah.
What do you want to happen after 9? What do you think they should do? Not looking at like story. I mean like as filmmakers, what should they do?
So
after
9's
9?
over. What do they do next?
What happens next? What should they do? I talked a little bit about how I think about earlier, but what do you think they should do after 9?
I personally, I don't care whether they call it Episode 10. I don't care whether they call it something else entirely. I'd like them to have new Star Wars movies that aren't this story anymore, which I guess is what we were talking about earlier. I don't know how I feel about this same, like, if it's like a new trilogy and now it's going to be Rey and Finn and Poe back and it's continuing them, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think what I would want the most is they're starting fresh, as if, like, this is new Star Wars now. So I guess that's what I'd like to say. And also I have to wonder where the anthology films are going. Because I guess it would be slated that if there's going to be a third one, it would come out after, right? Because, okay, so Solo, and then next year would be Episode 9, then the third anthology film would be after that.
Yeah.
So that's a little weird to me. It would make me really wonder what that third one's going to be.
I think they said it might be Obi-Wan.
I think that's just speculation, though, so
I'll check real quick.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but it's just, I don't think it's confirmed yet. And I think it also depends on how Solo performs, because it's iffy how it's going to perform.
Oh, man. Where's that trailer?
Yeah. So, that's the question, is like, are they going to continue with these anthology things? I don't know how long that's going to go. I guess I'm not up on it. And the is the Rian Johnson trilogy,
it's
if it
untitled.
Happens, it's not going to be...
It's not part of the anthology.
So maybe after the anthology, it's going to be...
Oh, they said that right now it's just untitled anthology film. They don't know what it is. It was going to be a Boba Fett movie directed by Josh Trank, who did the last Fantastic Four movie.
Oh,
then yeah, stuff happened.
They had to snuff out the directors that because like Colin Trevorrow is another one where he came out with a pretty crappy movie and that, so yeah, I mean, I haven't honestly been thinking about that much about what I think is going to happen or what I want to happen in the future. I'm just taking it as it comes.
So I've said earlier, I would like 9 to be the end of the story. You know, even though I'd be fine if they did like a spin-off of it. Like, here's like a Rey Solo movie years later. But I feel like let's end the story here and just wrap it up, tie a nice little bow. I don't want 10, 11, 12. Although it sounds like they'll probably do that.
Again, I don't care if they call it that personally. It's just like throwing numbers on it. I don't care.
I just feel like let's just end the story. Let's wrap it up.
And at the same time, even if they continue and make another trilogy that has Rey, Finn, Poe, BB-8, if they're continuing that with 10, 11, and 12, I think I would be, as long as they're good, I'd be okay with that too. It's just maybe not necessarily what I'd prefer thinking about at this moment, but I'm really not caring that much, honestly.
I'd rather they just start with completely new characters, start with new characters, or, and I'll say it again, I would like Star Wars to reboot.
Yeah.
With, because there's some people mad about replacing the old characters. Yeah. But I feel like if you reboot, you can have, your classic ones, and then you can have, like, here's one with the classic ones, here's one with new characters, and then they can cross over.
If Solo turns out to be good, I think it would be really cool to... Cause I'm personally really excited about Donald Glover being Lando. I just like Donald Glover. But, yeah, if it were... Like, that's the thing, is that if it happens to... I don't have that much faith in Solo, to be honest. For a lot of reasons.
I am not looking forward to it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm really... what I just said was basically the one thing I'm looking forward to. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if they're going to reboot, because if this does bad, and it very well might, and people don't receive to the, doing the old characters with the new actors well, we might not get that.
How do you think how do you think 9 will do? Because now we've dropped from Force Awakens to the original cast. Now we've dropped to at least one original cast member with a small role.
I think that this is where it's been heading the whole time. So I think that's kind of the idea, is we're transitioning to the new characters. So I think that's kind of the purpose, and that's.
But I don't think 9 is going to have the hype that the last two.
Oh, right.
So how do you think this does box office wise?
That's interesting, because on one end, I don't know that much about box office stuff. Do third ones often do better than second ones?
It's usually, each movie gets better and better.
Oh, really? Oh, well, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Force Awakens is different, though. You can't really compare that. That was a once-in-a-lifetime
Yeah, I know,
thing.
that's kind of thing. I think that what you're saying, I think with it being the final one, and that's bringing it up a bit, but I think you have a point there with there's less of that nostalgia pull. They would probably have to... It's tough, because I feel like if Luke comes back as a Force Ghost or something, they're not going to advertise that, probably.
I feel like they will.
I guess they might have to, because they need to... Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do there unless they get some other... Like, if they get Lando for this one or something, like, there isn't as big of a nostalgia pull. But I just care about them making the best movie they can, so... I'm going to see it, so...
So, last question on what I was proven wrong to be a full episode.
All right.
So, I remember hearing about this original George Lucas outline. And I remember two things specifically. One was that the droids were going to be the only one to appear in all 9 films. And that Luke would have a cameo as a Force Ghost in 9. So now, I'm wondering... How close do you think this actually is to the Lucas outline? Because looking at it now, it kind of makes me think it might be closer than we thought.
Maybe they're homaging it, but I don't know if they're following the exact plot points.
I feel like maybe there's like... They're taking some stuff from it.
They might be taking some little bit... J.J. Abrams invented, kind of conceptualized a lot in this, really. Yeah. Because, he came up with Phasma, BB-8... the idea of Rey, I think. So it's a lot of new ideas. It's just like, how much did he know about this other trilogy? I don't know. But yeah, saying that it's lining up so far. Yeah. It seems that way.
So there we go with our Star Wars The Last Jedi special.
Absolutely.
here we go. And here I thought this was going to be a 20-minute episode.
But that's the thing. We can't resist the rabbit hole.
Yes.
And I always, you know, that's what happens when you also, you know, also talking about other movies that disappointed us.
Yes.
Our history with Star Wars.
I even wrote a whole rabbit hole episode for us to do because I thought it was going to be this short.
You never know.
One day.
Because you can't. It's impossible. It's comment section where we keep falling down that rabbit hole.
That rabbit hole is here, and it's going to stay.
Absolutely. That's our Star Wars The Last Jedi episode.
For those of you still watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those of you who have not smashed
something that is
computer.
Still managing to be shorter than the movie, but not actually that far off.
No.
So, tell us what we should have cut. What part of this episode was the Canto Bight segment? What part of this episode was the Snoke Throne Room segment? But who are they? We're the comment section.
Yes.
They don't get to talk to us.
No, they don't.
That's the thing about this show. And there's another thing about this show. And that's that we fall down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
And then we tell people to keep falling down that rabbit hole.